Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel Property Wealth Decoded. And before I start, a huge greeting to my Chinese friends out there. 新年快乐，万事如意. We've taken a break for the last 2 weeks and now we are back. So today the video is going to be about the latest buzzword that's been going around, wealth tax. So is wealth tax coming? At the moment that I'm recording this video, it is before the budget talk on the 18th of Feb. So there's been a lot of talk about wealth tax. Now, a huge part of wealth is related to real estate in today's terms. So we have seen real estate break new records and the quantum of purchases in Singapore have become higher and higher. Does that mean that we are expecting some tweaks to the way we're going to deal with real estate? Is there going to be certain portions of real estate wealth that is going to be taxed? So hypothetically speaking, today we are going to share a little bit on just some thoughts on this potentially gonna happen, wealth tax. There are several schools of thought out there where different analysts, different people have weighed in on the fact that wealth tax could take the form of recalibration of property tax rate, or even at the buyer stamp duty for higher value residential properties, or what about capital gains tax on luxury residential properties? At this juncture, nobody knows any better. But in today's video, what I would like to find out from you guys, as well as from my perspective, as I'm an owner of property myself, not just one, and it is exactly what we have been fearing. The word fear, it's apparent because for different people in Singapore, when they buy property, they have already factored in certain economic model behind it. Whether you are buying it for own use or you are buying it for investment. There are multiple clients that we serve out there that have more than one property, and at the same time they have also seen the value of their properties go up in recent years. So let's go a little bit deeper on what could potentially be some of these wealth tax that could be related to real estate. One potential change could be the property tax rates that is going to be levied between an owner-occupied unit versus a property that is being leased out. For those people who have an investment property, we do know that if it was an investment property, that property tax rates are being levied on the income at about 10% versus an owner-occupied property, which is around 4% of annual value. I would believe that if it was going to be a change in that regard, then the potential impact is obviously, I feel, going to be muted. Because from day one, when you are buying a property for rental, it is an all-in cost. Whatever that you are getting as a rental and perhaps how much you're paying out as a property tax is already being considered. Now, if it's me, if I were to be buying an investment property, all these costs I would already factor in. As we can see in today's market, most people, when they are buying investment properties, they are most likely to be looking at buying this property for more than just the rental income per se. They are also looking at capital gains. Capital gains meaning that when you buy a property, net of all your costs that's involved, you're going to make a certain amount of profits. Now, if tweaks are going to be on this portion of property, then I believe that the response will be relatively muted. People will respond accordingly and the numbers will naturally tweak. Point number 2, if it's going to be a higher buyer stamp duty for higher value residential properties, then my question is, what is the classification for higher value? Because this is probably going to be challenging as different people may see higher value differently. In the course of the last 2 years, we kind of see quantum values for property, even at the lower end for private properties, increase substantially. I think 2 years ago, if you were to buy a $1 million property, it would have been pretty easy. But 2 years down the road, we have seen values creep up. If you were to go into a private new launch right now, I think if you have a budget sitting squarely around 1 million, you may find the going tough. You may not be able to find something that's suitable for you. If it's going to be a capital gains tax, then if we had mentioned earlier, perhaps this could probably be easier to mitigate, because capital gains tax in itself, as the name implies, there must have been some gains involved. If there have been some gains involved and sharing a portion of that to pay a tax, I believe that it might be a happier problem. I don't know if that is a right term to use. I believe if capital gains tax is going to be the direction that we are going, then it will be a win-win situation, because it could be a portion of your gains that's going to be taken away. Is this going to break the economic model when people look towards buying a property? I believe that if this was going to be a case of capital gains tax, then is capital gains tax going to be levied on owner-occupied properties or investment properties? Now, if you're going to buy a house for your primary home usage, if there's going to be a change in the rates, like I was saying earlier on property tax based on owner occupation, then there should be not much of an issue. But if it's for investments, then it's a whole package. And capital gains tax will also be determined based on the amount of capital gains that you are going to receive. So what are your thoughts on this topic? Because currently it's really kind of like preemptive, but the buzzword being going around makes me sit back to think, both as a realtor and as a consumer and investor myself, moving forward, what are the likely thoughts that's going to be at the back of my mind when I buy a property? If there was going to be an introduction in wealth tax, which is probably going to touch on real estate, if that happens. If I believe that wealth tax is going to be something that is not as straightforward to implement in real estate, but it could come in different forms. So what are your thoughts on this topic as we move into 2022, coming off cooling measures in December 2021? Is this going to be a difference or make a difference in your real estate decision in 2022? If you like what you hear so far, do like, share, and subscribe to the channel as we continue to challenge certain mindsets and topics and opinions moving forward in 2022. And if you need somebody to speak to in regard to some of your thoughts that you cannot make sense of, feel free to text me, and thank you very much.